have all of these journals, and I do not believe that I absolutely finished them. I might have worked on them a little bit, but I don't think I actually finished them. So I've got all of these to do. There. Deconstructed, and then I just added pages randomly throughout. But these are awesome, awesome books. Awesome, super awesome. And I just wound up getting a set at the thrift store, so I thought, yeah, I'll just go ahead and do that. But there's going to be some parts that need some work. You know how you do that? You go through and then you come back through. So I actually need some pockets too. So that'll be good. Look at that one. So this is the cat journal, the cat manual journal that I have. Oh, I need more pockets there. So that's what I'm working on today, guys. I have to get all of this done. And there's another pocket that needs something. All kinds of different books that I've used um, now that I've used them so much, they're kind of deteriorated. So it looks like I have another pocket there that needs to be filled. This is one of my favorites. Um, favorite books that I totally used up, Lois Elhart, Elchert, I believe. She's awesome. So, yeah, take it apart, put them back together. So those are all need to get done. And I also have this one that I have been working on um, that also needs things on the inside. So I'm just taking a bunch of different papers out and I'm including them in the pages and then trying to turn all of my music notes, the cat journal and stuff where I can into writing spaces. And then for a change, I just decided to go ahead and use some, I just haven't been using my washi tape, so I thought, okay, I'll try that. Um, here we go. So it takes surprisingly a long time to come in and do these. I don't know how many pages there are. There are quite a few, and I think the other one I counted 50. So this is just washi tape, right? But yeah. So a lot of these are from the calendar scrapbook or calendar scrapbooking from 20. I think it was quite a while ago, and I only paid $3 for it at a thrift store. So it's 365 days of pages. The artwork could be better, but it's actually, there's so many different elements that it's definitely coming in handy for a lot of projects. So this is what I'm working on today is adding up these. I'm just doing a video, honey. I'm just doing a video. This is the journal that was given to me by someone. Um, I should have written her name down on here when I got it. Did she write her name on here? This is why we have to add our names on on our journals. I've got to do that as well. I love it anyways. And that's the kind of size of journal that I do as well. Because I think that's lots. And I always get drawn back to it all the time. So I keep going back to it. So I have all my tips listed in here from when I'm doing tips so I can remember, and my plan for the tips is just to be able to refer people back to the tips. And then my weight that I'm constantly battling with. But today I wanted to be live and say, because of the Couch and Richmond decision, I want to start talking about land title and certificate of possession. Because I've had my own personal experience with having my land title extinguished um, on a in BC Aboriginal band. So some parts I can't say openly or clearly. Some parts I can't share. But I believe I can share what my actual experience was. And just seeing the news about the Cowichan and Richmond court decision, and I think that it happened in Haida Gwaii too. I am Aboriginal, and I don't have a problem with conciliation. My problem is that when you have, for instance, the community that I'm from, that don't are not educated, they don't even have the basics of administrative fairness, and they start exerting their authority over your land, and there's no checks and balances, people. There's no accountability. There's no one that you can call. When I was going through it, the ombudsman couldn't help me. I contacted the Aboriginal Legal Women's League or something like that. I contacted the Legal Education and Advocacy Fund or whatever. I met some of them when I was in university back in 19, what year was that? 2018, I guess. Yeah, so I'm old. And the problem that I had is I was removed, physically, violently removed from my property by the RCMP at the direction of the Chief and Council. And I still have anxiety about that. You want to see some shaking? Yeah, that's going to take me a while to, well, it's been a number of years now, and every time I bring it up, it's upsetting, but I believe this information needs to get out because I don't think people understand the ramifications of that court decision. I don't know, Couch, and I think I've got a lot of respect for the Haidas, but if you're dealing with an Aboriginal community like mine, where they don't follow any procedures, they just do things whatever the way they want, they have meetings without you behind closed doors, they make decisions about you, they bring in people that will speak against you and go by their lying words, but not tell you about it, and then bring in the police. The police was Constable somebody Evans, and yeah, the family member that I quarrel with called the police, had the police come to the house. When I went into the house to grab my purse because I wasn't accustomed to being arrested, the police chased me into the house. The police officer fell down the stairs because they're very narrow rises. Was so mad that his face was red, and he scared me because I was going down where I had my purse. But he scared me so much that I ran out the downstairs door, ran down the fields, and he tackled me. And it's dark, it's like I don't know, 11 at night in the wintertime. And I laugh about it in some ways because what saved me was that this young fellow, tackled me about 3 feet from this fence that we have that takes us from our property um, into the field from the, we call it a bench, into the field. So even though I know the property super well and it was dark and he probably could see me, but it's dark. I could have potentially gotten away because I was scared enough. But the problem is that he tackled me, and I laughed about it because if I had gotten two more strides, I would have fallen not on the rocks that are part of the driveway down into the field. I would have gotten to the flat part at the fence and been in the total mud. So that's the part that I am always grateful for, that part, even though the rolling around on rocks is very painful, and I was completely bruised up by that, and I was absolutely humiliated. So I think in one summary I'll talk more about that arrest that happened, but today I just wanted to give you an idea that this is called Healing is Your Cycle Crafting, and I'm trying to heal from the trauma of trying to go back to my home. I'm a worker. I've been a worker my whole life. So is my dad. And my dad bought the property. It's the most private property you can have on a reserve. It's called a certificate of possession. Hi. Hear something. Hear me? Oh, you can't hear me? Is there a problem with the sound again? Seems to be always a problem with my face. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, or say you can? I might have to just do a video and upload it instead. Thanks, so awesome. What a nice name too. Anyways, it's a big deal. My dad inherited land from his mom and dad. They own thousands of acres, and then my dad purchased another 100 acres. So the amount of property that I jointly own with my siblings is around 300 acres. But I'm not talking about family disputes. I know that there's a lot of family disputes over property. It's happening a lot. It's really, really sad. I know people are having disputes over orchards now. People that run the orchards are ready to retire and trying to hand it down to their kids or something, and there's family disputes. I'm not talking about the family disputes for these videos. What I'm talking about is if you hand over authority to government that doesn't have the skills or the ability to manage that power and authority properly, it's going to be really bad. It's going to be really bad. And I think it's something that needs to be talked about. And one of the biggest things that I would like for people to know here, I really like Hunter Hunt's videos where he has everybody come write in and tell him about his Sasquatch stories and stuff. If you have, or you know of someone who has a bad experience with their bands, can you please have them email me? I'll put my email in the comment section, because one of the hardest part is there's nowhere to turn. You don't feel like anybody's listening. Nobody cares, and that's not true. I care. Um, Seems like my whole life and whatever jobs I was doing or wherever I lived, I was always the one that had to point out the problems. And this is a big one. This is a big one. And I'm really sorry for the people that are dealing with their um, fear of losing their property rights because since I've been removed, I have not been back. Um, and how do I put any money into my property after being tossed out like I was last time? And think that, yeah, it was bad. It was really, really bad. Really bad, people. So hard to be succinct on it. It's so hard to say everything in one shot. So I'm just going to have to break it down and just do these videos um, and hope people will write me with the people that have bad experiences as well. Um, the Department of Indian Affairs has a lands management department. They didn't help me. The lands department with my band didn't help me. Um, like I said, the ombudsman, MLA, didn't have any authority on reserves. So if you want to hand over title of land to the reserve, you need to know that there's no checks and balances. As if nada. Oh, well, there's one thing I can do, and I think it's what they want me to do, and that is to file for a Supreme Court order because I'm in a dispute with my family members. That's what we would call it. But the only remedy that the Supreme Court can do is to have the land sold, and then any proceeds left from lawyer fees get dispersed between the certificate of possession holder. But I'll tell you right now, and I think people are seeing that with this court decision, land on reserve can only be purchased by other band members. So the value is nada, nada. The nervousness and anxiety. I have to say it, people. I have to. I'm sorry for my subscribers who think maybe they haven't subscribed to this. But I'm thinking maybe you do know somebody that needs to hear this. And it's one thing to have something happen, and then it's another thing when it happens in a silo. And the injustice of it just kind of echoes around in your head. I know when I worked for Okanagan Nation Alliance many years ago, I had some women come in and talk to me because they were having issues when they divorced on reserve and not being able to get share of their marital property, things like that. I'm not sure if that helped them with the Bill 331 or not. And I'm not a lawyer, so make sure I'm saying that. I'm not here to give legal advice at all. I wouldn't be surprised if the band sues me or whatever. Whatever. I have completely lost respect for my community because of the way they treated me, and I worked for the provincial government for 35 years, and I'm retired with a pension now. And for me to be considered a professional in court every week uh, to um, uh, do work under provincial legislation, and then go back home and be treated like a criminal, um, and being removed from my own property. It's not funny, but I can't hardly say it without this kind of what the heck. So I paid $11,000 in taxes since I graduated in 1981. Ah, that's the year. I think it's 1988 I graduated. So I thought that I could expect a little bit more from the police or from any government agency that might be able to come in and help me out. But no, there's no help, guys. Like I said, for bands or communities that have educated elected members and staff, I think that you've got a better chance of having things go smoothly, but that's not the case for mine. And the result was I don't have any land that I can live on in peace and quiet without harassment and threats of arrest and assault, I guess. And intimidation tactics. So there you go, guys. Oh, can you see? I will. Thank you so much. Claire, thank you. Um, yeah, doing filling up all my papers does take time, but I do feel like I'm recycling by using these papers. But I feel like I'm doing a bit more than doing it. So the whole thing of my journals is recycle. So anyways, if you guys have any questions, let me know. But that's going to be my talk about it. Because I wasn't just arrested, I was bought out to get to my reserve. You have to cross the bridge. I was barred from crossing the bridge. My car was vandalized. People driving in, threatening me. Pretty awful. Pretty awful stuff. Really awful stuff. So do what you can, guys, to stay informed on that Richmond stuff, and I have no idea how it's gonna work, because I don't have any faith that there isn't gonna be some bands that are gonna be as obnoxious as mine is. They're not healed. They're not healed. They're angry. And because I had left and worked off reserve, I guess they're pretty nice and angry at me too. So putting people like that in charge, I think, is unbelievably huge mistake. Unbelievably huge mistake. Like I said, I don't know the Caltrans. Maybe they're running way better. But it's one of those things, if you don't know something, I'm talking to my band, if you don't know something, maybe you better get some education, or maybe you better get some training, or maybe you better go and get some help, because treating returning band members who did nothing wrong except go away to work and raise their children, and do the best they can and figure, oh, I'm gonna retire at home and just relax and take, chill out, and then get told you don't own anything and get the hell out. It's like, what are you talking about? Yep, that's the kind of stuff that happens. So I can only talk about my experience, but this whole stuff, I've listened to a lot of the reports about the Richmond Cowichan decision. It's really triggering me because I think the general population thinks that they would be dealing with like a city council, although there's some pretty wild city council people too, aren't there? Uh, they could just be dealing with the majority family elected leaders and and being in the family that's always been elected. After a while, I think they get to have a level of arrogance that they can do whatever they want, and it's their community, and they can treat people in which way they want, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. And I'm here to tell you, that's true, guys. That's flipping true. With my experience, they can treat you in which way they want, and you can get away with it. And to this date, this has happened, I don't know, it started in 1996. To this date, I've never been invited or been able to go to a band council meeting and talk to them. It's just like that one person said, when you're froze out of the information, when they don't give you the information, they don't share information, they don't try to solve a problem, they just fan the flames and get people in the community to do their bidding, which is the threats and property damage and everything. Yeah, what can you do? What can you do, people? I hope people don't have to do what I feel like I was forced to do, which was I had to leave. I had to leave. But I think if you talk to them, they would say, I was the problem. I was the problem. Well, the property that we have has a family house, and I was in the family house. And all the time I would go home and spend a week or two a year in the family house where my brother stays. And he's a chronic, long-term, very bad alcoholic. And over the years, he you can't be an alcoholic that long without getting more and more damage into your brain. And so he just started getting worse and worse. And he was okay when my kids were little, but he just kept getting worse and worse. And he just decided he didn't want me there at the house at all. And he got drunk and started yelling. I'll try to give you two quick examples. One was he was mad because he was drunk, and he came down and he asked me if I was keeping the fire, because this is only wood heat there, keeping the fire going properly, because it was a wet day and the firewood was wet. And he figured that I wasn't taking care of the fire properly, which I've grown up on wood fire. I spent my first 19 years of my life there in that home, and we can get into how that wound up being to me staying there. And so he locks me out after I go to the store for a shopping trip. And he tells me he's locking me out because I wasn't keeping the fire properly. And I told him that the way I had to do the fire is I had to stand up all the woods around the fire. It's a huge fire, huge wood stove, and then keep turning them so that they would dry out because the wood was wet. And I said, I don't know how you do it, because that's how I was doing it. And I wouldn't put the wood in unless it was dry, because that's not good. That's just not a good idea. But he's like, no, you're doing it wrong. And I'm like, man, you live here, you don't pay $1 rent, haven't paid $1 rent in your whole life, he's older than I am. And you can't even be bothered to build a wood shed for the wood so that they don't get wet. And you know how it is when you rent, and that's all I did. Well, I did own a house for a short time. Oh no, I lost my train of thought. So yeah, anyways, he's pretty lazy. But that, guys, is who the band believes owns all of the land in the house. There's no legal basis to that. He's not on the certificate of possession by himself. That's what we got. Like I said, if anybody had any administrative fairness, even though the band chief said that he didn't know who I was when he got the call and had me removed, I'm like, when I don't know somebody, my first response isn't to have them arrested. Is that your first response? To listen to a drunk man? And so that was his complaint. Number one, I wasn't doing the fire properly. And then after my arrest and assault, which I went to the doctor the next day and got all my injuries documented, from the police, I went and barged in and talked to the chief, the one and only time I talked to the chief, and said, what was that? What was that last night? Why was I held in cells all night? Why was I assaulted? Why did you tell them to take me off my property? Look at me shaking, guys. This is so bad. It's okay. We gotta get through it. Okay, we're fine. Everything's fine. We're gonna be all right. I'm good. You're good. Don't worry. I'm sorry if I'm triggering you. We're gonna be okay. Okay, we just gotta talk about it. Because I think it's going to start affecting more people now that we're getting these weirdo court decisions. So, when I went and seen the chief and I said, what the heck is going on here? His answer was, he had a visit from my brother. He went into the office, and complained to him that I was cleaning. Of course I had to clean. The place was terrible. You know, when you make haunted houses and you use that cotton to make spider webs and it's really hard, that's what we had in the kitchen. the food in the freezer was horrible, and the food in the fridge was horrible. And my son and I had to clean, and he went to the chief and actually told that I was cleaning. That's all the chief knew before he had me arrested. My God, an old woman is at her house cleaning. Like, my daughter couldn't even be there when I went there with my kids because she has allergies, and the dirt was so bad, and I couldn't clean it enough. I couldn't clean it fast enough. I couldn't do a good enough clean for her to even be there. That's how dirty it is. So obviously not just alcoholism, but pretty bad depression. I'm not a doctor, but I would say that's probably the case. So I pray every day that he gets the help that he needs, because I actually don't really blame my brother. I just don't think that he's smart. And I wouldn't be either, to be honest, if I lived on the reserve, didn't go nowhere, didn't get any other jobs, never paid rent, never paid taxes, never paid property taxes, never paid anything. That's what he does. He doesn't have rent, doesn't pay anything. When I told him, I woke up one time when I was there, and one of the most beautiful things about that place is it's so nice and quiet. It is so quiet. You know, how everywhere you go, it's just so loud and busy. So I used to love just going home just to take a break from the noise. Well, I woke up, and earlier than I wanted to, because there's this tick, 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 tick. And I'm like, what the heck is that? So I got up and I went outside. It's just getting daylight. And I noticed all the way around the house, there's no eaves for the rain, it just comes right off the roof. And so all the way down, all around the house, is empty cans of beer. And as the rain's coming down the roof, it's landing on these cans of beer. And all together now they're going tick, tick, tick. And that's when I told him, I said, not to talk about, I mean, I have photos, because I had to take photos. The whole property is nothing but a garbage dump now. That's not how it looked when I left when I was 19, when my dad was still alive. And I told him, you wouldn't survive in the real world. I said, because the normal people have to pay for garbage pickup. You have to pay for water. You have to pay extra, You have to pay for your power. He didn't even have his power paid, which was because it's a small amount of amps. His bill was $75 every 2 months. He wasn't even paying that. He was having the band pay that for him, right? And so that's why when he woke up after I woke up early with that thinking, I told him, you don't have any respect at all for this place. That if you have garbage, you can bring it to the curb, and the band sends a truck around it, and it gets picked up for nothing. You don't pay anything for that. And I said, and I would assume that you could probably call. You could probably call them and say, I have more garbage. Can you pick that up too? I'm assuming they would. I don't think they're that busy. But as far as infrastructure, that's it. There's no lights. The road was put in years ago by the highways. So there's no other infrastructure in our community that's being looked after. As far as I know, we don't have any parks. So once again, you're going to hand over everybody's property. Are they going to start collecting taxes? Do they know how to collect taxes? Do they know how to keep things maintained? All I see is, I'm pretty sure from the people that I spoke to, that my community is pretty darn good at incurring debt. I don't know that. With how much money the government gives over, I think you could manage it better, but maybe all of them are like my brother and they never paid rent, so they don't even know how to make a bill payment. But they seem to think that it's perfectly fine for them to bar me from going home to my free and clear property and be out here paying rent as though that's nothing. Well, you know what? I don't think my brother would be able to pay rent. I don't even know how many band chief and council members in my community would be able to do it. So that's my ranting for today, guys. Tell me what you think below. I know you want it to be my fault. I know you want to think, she must be a real Karen or something. And let me tell you, when it was happening, I was mad. I was so mad. I think you could potentially describe some of my rants as Karen. I was so shocked and mad when it happened. But I'm humbled now because they won. Doesn't matter. Does not matter what I say or do. So I'm not being Karen. I've been praying and praying and praying for their forgiveness. I trying so hard to forgive them, and believe it or not, my anger is so much less now than it used to be. And it's God's help that is letting me have some peace. And I'm just trying to enjoy my days. It's like, you know what? I don't want to feed into that anger. I just want to have peace in my days. I just want to listen to my music. I've got beautiful people in my life, people that I absolutely love. Finished a very stressful job, and I have to work now. I'm on my pension. But yeah, I would agree with you that I was not as patient as I could have been, and maybe I should have kowtowed a little bit more to my useless brother. But telling him the realities of the world, how he shouldn't live like that, how he could get the help that he needed. As far as I know, all the communities have money from the recent decisions, Blackmore's decision, that there is counseling available for my brother to get well, if he wants to get well, and stop drinking, if he can't handle it. And I'm not a medical professional, but that's my take at it. I don't think it's good for the brain to drink frickin' every day. So if you have a really overwhelming issue, I would recommend just praying. Just praying. And have faith that we're being looked after, even if we're not in the place we want to be, even if it's hard, even if things didn't turn out the way you intended for them to turn out. Try to look at the positives for the situation that you're in. That's what I'm doing. It's not, I don't need pity, or I don't want people to feel sorry for me or anything like that. I looked after myself every day of my life since I was 19. I'm totally capable of looking after myself. Just thought it would be a lot easier because I'd have been able to have a garden maybe some chickens and all the stuff that I had when I was growing up. Well, not all the stuff, because that's a lot of work. Um, and hats off to my dad for all the hard work he did all his life. And he loved every one of us equally. That's why he did the undivided. He loved every one of us equally. He never picked favorites. And I have to remind myself of that all the time. That's why I can't really blame my brother. I was being too honest, guys. Being too honest. But my beef is with very uneducated, very sneaky, very backhanded, very underhanded bands. That's my beef, guys. Because if that can happen to me when I have a specific session and I haven't done anything wrong, and believe me, they threatened to have me banned. They said, oh, we have the right to ban people also from the reserve. I don't think so. Good grief. It's pathetic, guys. It's really pathetic, and I guess we have to laugh a little bit, okay? Just have a little bit of a laugh over it. I'm hoping God has a plan and it's going to work out. I have faith God has a plan and it will work out. There we go. I don't think I need another one more. The only thing I can think of is these are all thin, so everything I put on it has to be thin because they're not heavy pages. Ooh, I like this. I guess I should put this on there. I did do some more, those are for my undersea journal, actually. How about this one? Yeah, let's do that one. That's a Philippines on the stencil. And I think pretty much done this journal. Take a break. I've got so many to do. As I always say, these journals are leaving a lot of room for writing, and I'm not decorating it like super heavy where all the pages are filled because I want people to be able to write on it. And these are all for a memorial for a really amazing man that treated me so well when I was in Haida Gwaii. And my children's uncle. So I'm working on these for his memorial. So I think will be next year, which will give me lots of time. Because I think I'll have to make 300, potentially 300 of them. Okay, guys. Talk to you later. How do I turn it off?